Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you so much for watching on the Town with Tanya. I'm your host, and I thank you so much. If you get a chance right now, please share this right now because it's very important that everybody knows who we are talking about today. Today's guest is an autobiographer and was a confidant and a friend to the late great singer-songwriter Rose Marie McCoy, who Rose Marie broke into the white male-dominated music business in the early 1950s, writing over 850 songs and jingles for the likes of Sarah Vaughan, Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin, Nat King Cole, and many, many others. Why is she not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That's what we're trying to figure out. Um, don't we know? We know. Excuse me, I just got sidetracked. Sorry. Why don't we know her name as much as those who she's written for? Here to keep her memory and her legacy alive in the written form and honor her friend. The book is called I Thought We Were Writing the Blues, but They Called It Rock and Roll. Biographer, playwright Arlene Corsano. Thank you very much. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'm sure Rose is thankful too, because she kept telling people all the time. She would call me Arlene. She said, "Arlene is going to make me famous," and only because I wrote an article for a local newspaper about her. That's
Really?
how it started. Yeah, but she said it over and over again. And so one day I said, Rose, you have to stop saying that. I've always said it many times, sir. You have to stop saying, I don't know how to do that. I'm just a former school teacher. I don't know how to do all that stuff. She says, no, I have to keep saying it because then you have to do it.
Right.
It's weird, weird.
That's good because she knew, way before her passing that she liked your style of writing. Apparently, I mean, that's a big compliment for someone to say, "I want you to write my story."
I don't think that's. I don't know. I think it's just because I was so interested because I mean she had these stories and people had kind of forgotten about her around then. She had lost her husband. She was a little depressed and uh, when I met her through Maxine Brown uh, and and I don't know. It's just that I was so. She loved telling her stories, and I loved I loved listening. Like Jackie Wilson kissed her, and go, oh wow, and she wrote a song about it, "A Kiss of Thrilling Goodbye," and he knocked that out of the park. And she would call it a nothing song, but she just, Johnny Mathis, all these people that I heard about, and then I learned about people that I never heard about, which
Right.
was even more exciting.
Now, when did you actually get to know her and see,
Well,
like
she lived in the town next to me, but I
mm,
never knew her. And I knew Maxine Brown,
mhm,
and uh, I think what really started is Maxine Brown was doing a show over in Manhattan, but she was only a piece of it, a small piece. She was thrown in, kind of
mhm,
like we can sell tickets if we have Maxine Brown in. And I
mhm,
went there with Claudia Barry. I don't know, you might be, if you were in the disco, you knew Claudia Barry. We were at the same, volunteering at the same radio station.
mhm.
And I said, I'm going to go see Maxine Brown. She said, oh, I want to go. So we're sitting there watching the show, and Claudia leans over to me and says, this is a shame. And I said, that the show was so big. She says, they're using Maxine Brown. If that is Maxine Brown, like you don't use her that way, and and something that's not great. So I was over Maxine's apartment and with a couple of people, and I said, why don't you do a show yourself, a cabaret? And I said, the blues. I have an idea, and it's about the blues, and it had a lot of Bessie Smith stuff, and no, I don't like that. So I had her. She was over my house and at one time, and I played her the blues. She said, oh, I like that, and um, and anyway, so I wrote it for her, and it did well. And she had a party, and I was over there at the party, and a cousin of mine was with me, and because she used to help us out at the shows. And and I never I noticed Rose. You couldn't not notice her. It happened to be her birthday. She was 79, and they had a big cake, and she sparkled, and I noticed her singing, and I needed a pen to share some stuff, with someone about networking, and
Mhm.
and my I turned to my cut. She didn't have one. She was talking to Rose, and I said, she says, I have a pen. So I'm
Mhm.
half Italian, so I talk like this, holding the pen, and I'm going like after, and she touches me on the shoulder. She says, I need that pen. I hit my neighbor's car on the way over.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I never drove in the car with her except once around the corner. And that's part of it. She was a bad driver, and wild too. And anyway, so I called Maxine the next day to say what a beautiful party. I said, and that lady, my cousin learned she lives in Teaneck, right next to where I live.
Wow.
And I think next time you have a party, so I better drive her because she got lost. She was dressed to the nines, and here she is in Manhattan, dressed to the nines with these floppy shoes on, and she had a strained back, so she was walking. I said, "This isn't the way you go to New York or by yourself." And and so she says, "Oh no, you should write an article about her."
Mm.
Like she did give me her number to write the article, and that would be good to because she was, still a little low because losing her husband.
Okay.
And so I started driving her to whatever events we were going in the city, and she, she would tell us stories about her singing when she was young. And I'm so glad you called her a songwriter and singer too, because she
She
would listen.
started out singing, right?
She started out, but when somebody would ask her, well, how do you like doing a radio interview? Somebody made an hour long. I co-produced with the Radio Diaries guy,
Mhm.
an hour long. And well, how would you describe yourself? And she would say, a singer first, and then a songwriter.
Right.
She
Yes.
loves singing more than she loves songwriting, but she loved to see people, look them in the eye, and see how they react to lyrics. And
Right.
uh,
Right.
she just loved to make people feel the music, and
Right.
she
Right.
always said that a singer first, then a songwriter.
Well, we have that clip that we'll show. We can either show it now or wait a few minutes and show that clip. I think that it embodies her personality. So even if you don't know her, when you see that clip, you'll say, "Yeah, I think I know who she is. She's a fun person," and you could see
Yeah.
everything just it shines through in that little bit of minutes. It shines through. So, but first, I guess I'll ask, how do you think a girl living in Arkansas, right? Arkansas, living basically, she says, in a shack, comes up with this great dream of well, I heard she was listening to a band, what's the name of the orchestra, she used to listen to them and somebody else, which is what may have inspired her.
Well, she always loved to sing, and they didn't have a radio or anything in her home.
Right.
And she and her sister would sing, and they would also they'd sing in church, and her mother was one church and her father was the other one, so they'd sing both churches, and then they would go traveling churches too. They were apparently, the both of them were very good. And then when she went to Helena, Arkansas, to high school, it was 18 miles away from her home. And it was the only place for Black students to go to high school, the closest place. So she had grandparents that lived there, so she went to live there with them, and she sang in the shows. And Helena was the juke joint capital of the world, it was called.
Right.
And so she couldn't hear the blues in Oneida, where she was born, because it was the devil's music and they throw you out of church.
Yes.
And so all she heard was really country music on the radio, pretty much, and jukebox. They had some jukeboxes that she could hear some big band stuff. So she saw the Sweethearts of Rhythm and other bands. The Jimmy Lunsford Band was another big band. They came through town, and they would rehearse and have shows. They were shows, but a lot of these bands would use it as rehearsals too on their next big stop. And in their high school. And so she saw, the women dressed up so pretty, and she loved to dress. She was a dresser.
Wow.
And yeah. I digress, but
That's okay.
I'm thinking of Nappy Brown. She wrote about 8 songs for him, and
Oh, Nappy song. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, Don't
saw
Be
that.
Angry, one of the first rock and roll hits. She um, uh, he described her once
Mhm,
as, because I met him, I interviewed him,
mhm.
and he couldn't remember writing his first hit with her. I said, "Remember, she lived in the Bronx, and you went there, and then you had to get back to Newark and blah blah." And no, I don't. He didn't. His heart was bad at the time. He was singing around here, but you could tell just to get him across the street, we had to put him in a car to take him around
Mm.
the studio across the street where we could, interview him. And he's going, no, no. And then and we were getting nothing. And the cameraman is, finally he comes up with it. Leave it to a guy to say, she was real good looking, wasn't she? Nappy Brown, his eyes, he lifted his head up. He stood up, but he straightened. His eyes got big. It was so funny. And he said, she was something, boy. She was something. Walked down the street. Everybody be looking. Dressed her head off. And she did. She loved her clothes.
Yeah,
And she was gorgeous, wasn't she?
she was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I wish I had more pictures to put up of her besides the flyer, but hopefully everyone's seen the flyer and have seen how beautiful she was. But she also, when she started singing, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say she was opening or singing with people, with comedian Moms Mabley, right? And
Yeah.
and another male comic who wanted her to go, but she was like, "Nah, I just want to do my thing."
Yeah,
Right?
Pigmeat Markham. They were like 2 at the top, and she
Yes.
opened for them. She opened for Ruth Brown later,
Wow.
Dinah Washington. So
Wow.
she was good,
Hmm.
but somebody, a disc jockey who was into the older music, he said he had learned that her voice didn't record well. So
Oh,
even though she was a great singer
right.
back then, they didn't have. I mean, they could make me probably a singer, and I can't. I struggle with Happy Birthday,
Ah,
but that they have different. There it was just straight through, and whatever speakers they had, it did. Her voice just didn't come out right.
yeah, but I mean, I heard some. I've listened to other recordings from way back when, and I don't see how they would even come up with that conclusion. I mean, I do think it would be another excuse if you're a woman and you're African American. I think that would be.
Yeah, I don't think that was because I mean, RCA recorded her, and Decca, she had some, bigger record, but I did hear about, even way back, I forgot, it was two blues singers, and one became bigger than the other one, but there was a lot of writing about the second one that didn't become so big was the better singer,
Okay.
but one
Oh,
was Columbia, and Columbia had better equipment.
right.
So, and some voices do record better than others,
Wow. Wow. Well, that's I just think it's when I hear her voice, I'm like, how could they say that? She actually sounds like one of the other famous singers. I forgot her name. Oh man, really? I had a note somewhere. And I was like, wait a minute, how could they tell her voice sounds? That's really weird because that raw, gritty sound was the sound then, and with that it had strength to it. It had there's a lot to her voice, in my opinion. I mean, I don't see how they came to that conclusion, but like you said, old equipment, maybe there's something different. But if you can sing, to me, you can sing. Doesn't matter what to me, what equipment. The equipment only makes you sound a little bit better than if in if you
You
don't.
mean I should give up that career of singing for me then, huh?
Hello.
Right.
So rhythm and blues. So she really did a lot. 800 over 800, and was that right? Over 850 songs, and 350 for artists or something like that she wrote for. Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
have 360. It's more than that. I gave up
Right.
at 360 because there's one song that Elvis Presley did, and I saw someplace they had 69 people who did the song, and it wasn't her hit. She wrote 2 for Elvis. It wasn't the hit. It was the one that wasn't a hit, but it was on his first album.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, if you've got like almost 70 people recording one song,
Right.
you know it's a good song. And he recorded a lot. It was on his comeback special, and it was praised highly. His you know, he might not have been the greatest singer. I mean, he had something. And Rose liked him. She said he had sincerity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sincerity in the voice. But to me, Jackie Wilson was it. I mean, he had 4
Of course.
hours range. He could dance like crazy. You know, he just didn't shake hips. He was, you know, he was a singer. He could take that Rose's what she called a nothing song and make it into. You got to listen to that. A kiss, a thrilling goodbye.
Right. Yeah.
Going. So, you know, it's a sad thing that nobody has the exact count, because she wasn't very good at keeping notes, you know. And I spent a lot of time going through. There was one song, and she said the only person who did it was Louis Jordan.
Louis Jordan.
And it was called House Party. It's a great song. Yeah, I love that song. You heard that? So I just love it.
Yeah, I thought I had it, but I didn't know if I could play it. So I was like,
oh, yeah, that's I you know, it's such a great song, I thought. And so Louis Jordan.
I have it actually. I have it. I wonder if I could play a clip of it. No, you said no.
I don't know if you're worried. Probably not.
Yeah, we won't play the clip because we don't want to get in trouble. Yeah,
but you can find it. Write that down. House Party.
Yes.
Love Louis Jordan. So it never became a hit because he was on his way out that time. That the rock and roll was coming in. He was older, and you know, unfortunately he didn't get, you know, to be king of rock and roll because
right
what he was playing really.
Right.
And so you know, so he House Party. She wrote another one, and she said, "Oh, only one person did it." I was at her house, and I was organizing things, and I said, "Oh, here's House Party, but it's Frankie Lane." That he was a white singer back in the 50s. I said, "Frankie Lane recorded it too." Oh, she said, "Oh no, he didn't. They just did that," meaning they were selling sheet music to House Party. But they wouldn't put Louis Jordan's picture on it because they thought they would sell more if they had a white man on it.
That's how it went back then, isn't it?
Yeah, Ruth Brown. They used. She's the one that had the hit with Mambo Baby, but they used Georgia Gibbs. It was just on and on. They did that. They stopped. You know, I have some old copies where they didn't do it, but it was the time.
Yeah. No, definitely. So Rose, I mean, she was an amazing woman. I think, you know, when we think of rhythm and blues, and rock and roll, she did a lot. But one thing we don't pay attention to is there's a song she did. Let me see if I can remember which one it is. I wrote it down somewhere. There's one song she did where she was actually kind of rapping before rappers were. My business, dip into my business.
That was her first hit.
Down here, yeah.
Oh no. I was thinking of Here Come Old Evil Chick, come from Chicago. Got
was that before the Dipping in My Business? Was that before that?
Yeah, that was before. That was her first hit. That was called Gabbin' Blues. That was like.
Was she rapping on that one too?
She was talking. She was talking. Rose did the talking. It was supposed to be a man and a woman. It was Big Maybelle was the woman. And there was a guy who was supposed to do it, and he couldn't get it right. And Rose just happened to be at the recording session. It was one of her first records, so she was there. Right. And they said, "Rose, why don't you try it?" And so Big Maybelle says, "I can get in trouble for this." Not you, because I'm saying it right. Here Come Old Evil Chick, telling everybody she come from Chicago, got Mississippi written all over, and then. Rose says that, and then and her name isn't even on the record as saying it. And then Big Maybelle says, "You better stop trying to run my business," and that was at number 3 hit.
Yeah, no, I heard it. So I love it. You guys can find that on YouTube. It's a great song. I love all her music. I think, when you think about the fact that it's during the 50s, during Jim Crow and like all this racism and stuff, and this woman breaks into a male dominated industry. And I love the pictures they show with her at the events with the guys, and she's like the only girl writing. So she has something about her, and a willpower about her, that people had to respect, and the reason why I like music, and the reason why I like the story is that, music is what brings us together, because you see, she wrote for all kinds of people. So that's like, in spite of it being such a racist time, Elvis Presley and other people that she wrote for, what's her name? Bette Midler.
Bette Midler, Sarah Vaughan.
Right.
Right. Those are some of, I think, her best songs, and yet they're not out there. One will make you cry. It's just that she was a storyteller. So she would say things like, the steps coming loose, the paint's peeling off, and there's nobody here, but love don't live here anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's
that wasn't, I was looking to see if I can tie it up. That's not the same Love Don't Live Here Anymore as Tina Marie did, right? Love Don't Live, no, not Tina Marie. Who did that song? Love Don't Live Here Anymore. You remember that?
Unless she copied it.
Yeah, I'll look at the lyrics and compare, but I was like, wait a minute, that can't be the same song. Yeah.
It might just have the same title, but this one, it paints the picture of it's our house, but I hate coming home. Love don't live here anymore. Okay. It was on an album. Rose had 6 songs, I think, on that album. But they put a clown on the album because one of the songs was Sarah Vaughan sending the clowns, that she so and Sarah Vaughan was so angry she just didn't want the album. The album came out, but she didn't promote it. She heard whatever way she got, and she did another one with the same title but different songs. And it's a shame because I did a show along. I'm writing a show right now, Rose in Reparation, because she, the reparations is, the money, she's never going to get it back again, but let's get the recognition at least.
Right. Definitely.
And she's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's not in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And they have so many people that have a drop of what she did.
Right.
And yet she's not there. And Sylvia Moy from Motown, she's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And I spoke to her once and she said, I can't believe Rose isn't in it. She says, she's got 4 times as many hits as me. And she's the one who told us, the girls, before Carole King, before Sylvia Moy, before Valerie Simpson, she's the one that showed that we could do it. And she wrote more than we did and more diverse.
Right. Different genres of music.
Yes. Al Bell.
R&B, yeah.
And this is what I should write when I write to the Songwriters Hall of Fame, because I do plan on putting a letter in newspapers or someplace that they should change their name, because now they're doing people who only sang their songs and probably made hits because it was them. If you're I don't want to name anybody really, but somebody really big, who's really big. If you're Elvis Presley, and you write a song and it's not even that great, but you're Elvis Presley, well, that somebody's going to buy that song. Maybe a lot of people are going to buy that song. It doesn't have to be the best song out. And Al Bell said, because I got her into the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame.
I saw that in 2017, right?
I don't know what. I think it was before that.
Yeah.
No, it had to be before.
Well, at least that's when I saw the thing. Maybe they wrote the article.
Yeah, I think it was 2008 that we went out there, and she sang and knocked everybody out. Wow. I mean, at least we sat with the table with the governor of Arkansas. It was like 900 people, black tie, entertainment. It was a.
Did they give her the Rose McCoy Day? Come on.
I know, but it was a big deal thing, and So everybody got up and, got their award and spoke. And when Rose got up, Al Bell introduced her.
Mhm.
And he said, then, or maybe for my book, he wrote, I don't know of any other songwriter with the cred that Rose Marie McCoy has. She's written so many songs in so many different styles for so many, big stars
Yeah.
that, he says, I don't know anybody. And Al Bell was, I don't know if you know Stax Records.
That's facts, of course.
Yeah, he was Stax, and he was also president of Motown for a while.
Yes. Yes.
And for
Yeah,
him
he
to say that, that's a big deal. And then for her not to be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
I mean, their first induction was 1970. She
Right.
had loads of top tens in
Yeah, yeah,
1970.
start the 50s, yeah, that I
Yeah,
what's I
oh,
always to racism and sexism. That's what I equate it to.
yeah,
Lot
yeah, probably,
lot of
yeah,
lot
both,
of it's
both.
how can you not, have her when she has all the credentials, more than way more too many credentials for the if you ask me, for the amount of time, the effort and the time she put in and just, like, so many big people, like, not just songs she wrote. These are songs for, like, Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin, and, Sarah Vaughan, Jackie Wilson, like, I can go on forever, like, you know, there's some point you have to give credit, but I know back then you did not give credit to African Americans unless they were really, really, really sharp and had good lawyers. Then they got their credit, maybe
Or
like a
or
Nat King Cole or
or
something.
or money to buy
Right.
a table at the Songwriters Hall of Fame because
Well, okay. Oh, they were doing what I call payola there too.
yeah, it's well, as somebody said, it's pay to play. And a songwriter friend of mine, he wrote in Nashville.
Mhm.
Uh, he said,
Oh,
it's not. He said it's not just about the money. It's
right.
all about the money.
Right.
And that is what it is. That Rose, I don't know that I could scrape up 10 people to put together. One table I read was last year, maybe
Mhm.
$50,000. Now,
What?
if you're Motown, you'll
Right.
put that out.
Right. Easy because yeah, it's gonna come back
Easy.
double fold. Yeah.
And I understand, I don't know if you remember when uh, Dolly Parton
Yes.
was they wanted to put her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And
Mhm.
she wrote, she wrote back that as soon as I do my first rock and roll album, I'll be glad to be considered, but I don't belong there. But
Wow.
they put her in they wouldn't take her down. They wouldn't even take her down. And she asked them to. And
What?
then she gets in. Well,
Wow.
you know why? Because to see Dolly Parton in person, people will pay. Now, this is an auditorium, the Country Music Hall of Fame. They'll pay $800 for a seat because
Right.
they can see Dolly Parton.
Yeah, but
But if you were going to see, my friend, the songwriter, like, and nobody knows the name.
yeah, but that's all on marketing, is in my opinion. Because if I'm saying pitching it, let's just say, so let's say I'm not known, right? But if you're saying, the Elvis hit or Aretha's hit, or you name those names of people who have sung her songs and made number ones, somebody's going to come because they're going to be like, oh, well, let me go see. Maybe she can write one for us. You know what I'm saying? Because, and that's all marketing, in my opinion. And it's also, again, racism and sexism, because guess what? They would do it for, who else was most prevalent writers back then? I know, well, no,
Charlie Singleton was
yes.
very prevalent, and he's not in. And he
Oh,
wanted to get in. Rose said he really wanted to get in, and they didn't
really?
even consider him, but he was Black. Now, he wrote Strangers in the Night. He wrote Spanish Eyes.
Right.
BMI named them two of the top 20th century songs. And
Oh,
he wrote a lot of others, a number one for Pat Boone. He wrote, he wrote with Rose in the beginning for about 6 years they were together. They wrote Ruth Brown's number one and Faye Adams' number one. They wrote a lot of songs. They wrote a top 10 for Nat King Cole and for a lot of people. They
yeah.
wrote before.
Big Maybelline, Gavin Blues, a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of stuff. She has a major. I mean, her list is crazy. I just don't understand. Thank you, Emma. I just don't understand how she does not have like a Walk on Hollywood Walk of Fame. Whatever accolades go with this, I don't understand how she does not get that, because she, you know, you don't even have to know much about her. You just got to know the songs she's written and the people she's written for. That's enough. That's your resume. That's it. You know, not how much money you can pay. Because now that you tell me that, I'm going to be looking at it a little side eye, because I'm like, how much money you pay? So that means I know as of right now, a lot of artists who are getting play on billboards and getting #1 and getting Grammy awards honestly do not deserve it, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And that's because I'm a music snob to sorts, and I need to hear real instruments and I need to hear real lyrics. And I don't want you insulting people.
And I need to hear. I can't hear. I'm older. I mean, you know, I'm 2 years, like when I met Rose, the old lady, I thought 79 years old. I'm like 2 and some months, closer to that. So my ears are not, you know, I can still hear, but I don't have a hearing aid yet, close to it.
Right.
Sure. But
well, how old are you now? You said
76. I'll be 77 in July. So I mean, and she was like this old lady that I had to drive over. I wish I could meet somebody who takes care of this old lady. I can't drive at night, so that's the end of that. But you know, that's why I'm trying to work a little harder to get her out there. But I need some help. I do have somebody hopefully to help me with the computer stuff, because that's not my thing. I mean, I know so much, but I need a lot of help, because I know when I bring this, I brought it to Harlem. You probably know Vosa Rivers from Harlem. And I didn't know him this is from early on, I guess. Rose was 85. Oh, I guess I knew about 6 years. And she was having an 85th birthday. And I spoke to a friend of mine, you know, in Harlem, and she's a singer. And I said, we got to do something for Rose. She was a good friend of Rose also. And she said, we got to do something. I said, but I don't have the money to do something that is really big enough for her, you know, spectacular. And so she says, go to Vosa. And I said, I don't know him. And she says, that don't matter. Just call him up. So I did. I mean, and I'm not that kind of person. I'm thinking, well, why do they want to talk to me? And I need to be more aggressive at you know, at times. All times. And so I called him up and I told him what it was. And it was about this songwriter. And she did this, and he listened. He's a wonderful man. And he said, well, come in. Can you come in tomorrow and tell me more about this? And we'll see what we're going to do. We had in the Schomburg, which has about 400 seats.
I know. I've been there.
Filled it up, right?
Wow.
With free to everybody to come. And there's a lot of music people there and people from Harlem. And he paid for everything. We had a 5-piece band of people who had Grammys. I mean, in that band, it was fabulous.
Wow.
We had MC, we had Maxine Brown, Chuck Jackson, Baby Washington sing, and then 2 other singers do some more, and then an Elvis impersonator, and about, I don't know if it was 11 or 8 other people who knew Rose, had recorded one of her songs and sang their song.
Wow.
And it was fabulous. It was just a fabulous thing. And she got up and she sang.
Oh, wow. That must have made her so happy.
Oh,
how old was she at that point?
She was 85. It was her early 80s.
Can you imagine just after all those years, just to have that kind of boom party for yourself? Like, that's just fabulous. And at least she left knowing that someone is going to make sure her legacy, you know, I know she has the estate. That always helps. And, but to have a friend that also is like, you know what, we're going to get this out of here by hook or crook. We're going to do it. Is so, so important. That's just so beautiful that, that you guys were able to do that. And you never know. I mean, your friend that told you to ask the guy is right, because there's places that have grants to do stuff like that if it's tied to something historical. she's historical.
She is.
But she's
We've tried.
historical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got some grants. Well, we tried the Shades of Truth Theater in Harlem that you might know also. Um, they wanted to, but then they saw I had this bigger show that I did, 12 years ago, maybe it was. And I had a known director learn about it and just gave all her time up to direct the show.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, wait. And she says, this has got to be Broadway because of Rose's music and the story.
Fabulous. I mean, the story. Come on.
The story. But you know what? It cost me, I think that cost me like $7,000 to do a half-hour showcase.
Okay.
But I did get a person agent out of it because my director, she had one of her friends who was a playwright come and see it, and she says, "Oh, I got to tell this show my agent, and she'll want to agent it." And then I had somebody in the audience. We did it. I don't know how many times we got to the very end, and we did it a number of times. And a friend of mine and his wife were there. Well, his wife is my good friend from childhood. He wanted to put money into it. And I said, no. That's your wife is my best friend, and you're going to lose money until you get big people in. And still, you're going to lose money. And
yeah, I think there's a way to do it. I really do, because this story is, I mean, it has to be told. Just there's so many separate entities. Not to forget the fact that she even wrote 800 songs and 350 people for different people, various people. But just listening to the fact that she came from a shack, and she talks. You guys go to the YouTube when you get a chance. I had the link, but the link doesn't seem to work for me. Go to the YouTube and type in. What are you typing for that story?
Rose Marie McCoy.
Right, Rose Marie. Right, that's it.
It's going to work out fine.
Rose.
That was her Ike Tina Turner hit. Rose Marie McCoy is going to work out fine.
Out fine. I'm checking in the chat, guys. Go to YouTube after the show, not now. Don't leave us now. Go look at it, because it gives you a little background, just a quick little 7-minute whatever video, but it's fabulous. Because when you think about her going from a shack to the Brill Building, what's it called? The Brill Building?
Brill Building. And Carole King was never in the Brill Building. All the other ones they call Brill Building writers, they were in the cheaper building, 1650 Broadway. It's another songwriter. They were not even in the Brill Building. Rose is the real Brill. She had her own office. She didn't write for, then that's another reason that she's not up there. She didn't write for Alden Music. She didn't write for Atlantic. That's
called the old okie dokie boy trick.
Yeah, well, that's what she didn't write for. She could have. They wanted her to, and she said, "Boy, if I accepted Atlantic, I'd be a millionaire." Well, she could have been a millionaire even without it, but she got cheated a lot. I know.
Yeah, because she loved what she was doing. She didn't care so much about the money.
Well, and I think the other thing is, that's why this is with reparation too. I mean, the show does talk a little bit about, how the music and, Ruth Brown wasn't really out there. It does show how songwriters were cheated, and that she had to go so far to go to high school. So it's got some of that in there.
Right.
Wow. But it's also, and this isn't in the show, but this is also has to do with racism and segregation. And
that's
she lived close to Lorraine, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Now, this happened. There was, I don't know if you heard about that. The Lorraine, it was a riots. It was because they went to get a lawyer, farmers who were being cheated. It was the black farmers being cheated by the white landowners, and they wanted to form a union, and they get a lawyer, and then they all get slaughtered.
Yeah. Oh, that's like Tulsa and everywhere else that happened.
Right, like Rosewood, Tulsa. So she told me that story, and she told me as if she were born then. But I'm sure you hear something like that will send chills and fear into you. Yes. That using a lawyer is trouble. One time she told me, everybody wanted me to sue this one lawyer, not lawyer, to get a lawyer. And other people even said, we'll pay for you. We want you to be a part of this suit. We want you to sue him. And she wouldn't do it. She said, I don't want to get that kind of reputation.
Right. That's what it is.
Now, a white person would say, what are you talking about? I don't want to get that reputation. That's
Right.
what you do.
Cheers.
You know, Lieber and Stoller, they had parents who were, I think one was like in business, and then they had lawyers. They knew about lawyers, but if you're born in a tin top shack and your parents are farmers,
Right.
you don't know about lawyers, and you also know is probably stay away. And so she got cheated, and she knew that, but Charlie Singleton, who she wrote for, you know, in the beginning, he taught her a lot because he was older and he had been in business down in Florida. And he used to say, grab the cash.
I remember saying that.
$100, $200 for a song. And they didn't, she says he never bothered with royalties.
Well, that's where the problem was. And that to me was the mentality that a lot of people had, which is why they didn't get their royalties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a curse and a blessing because you're doing what you love and you're just getting in. But once you get in, like, you got to stop doing that, because that's how so many got just totally ripped off. They're like, right now, there's songs being played that they're not getting no royalties to. That's just so wrong. So wrong. I think it should be like a thing where
But then if you know, if she had once the writers who wouldn't sue, they might go there too. That's another thing. So there was actual, some of it you would say, oh, Rose, and she was very careless about money. And if you were her friend and you were the you know, she knew you and she thought you were your friend, and you were robbing. She oh, but you know, she's my friend, or you know, there's a lot of stuff in there. I guess she felt she had enough, and you know, you know, she just, and she was just very disorganized.
All right. I mean, she's creative. I mean, I'm going to show you guys a clip of her, just a little tiny clip, and it'll give you just a taste of her personality. Can I just show the clip real quick?
Yeah.
All right, let me just show the clip, guys. So it's here set up. It is share screen. Here we go, guys. I'm going to show this, Rose. And this is just a quick clip I'm going to show. Ready? Okay, ready? And... You see her personality, guys? You see that? I mean, her personality is just, I mean, just amazing.
And she wanted to do that. Luckily, she pushed me. She says, "Oh, bring your camera. Let's go. Let's do some camera." Yeah, she was very good at that. She just loved to have fun. And I think, you know, I had lost my mother by then, and she was very much like my mother.
Oh, really?
That personality. That she loved to laugh like that. My mother, if she could play guitar, she would have done something like that and probably put a funny hat on at the same time. You know, people were coming over. She didn't. She's ironing. She put a funny hat on. You know, and she was a party. You know, and the two of them, they didn't hold grudges. Even if somebody did them something wrong, they didn't hold grudges. They could be friendly with somebody who hurt them, but maybe they were family or something.
Right.
Didn't hold grudges. They and they were very friendly. Like my mother would, you know, I remember before she got a car, we'd sit on the bus and she'd be talking to somebody, or she'd be in the doctor's office and we're waiting there, and she'd be and who was that? I don't know. I just met her, but you wouldn't know that. So I want to tell this funny story about Rose. We were doing after the 85th birthday party downstairs, and the guy from Radio Diaries and his assistant are on one side, like, Rose is here, this guy is here, she's talking to this guy, nicely dressed, good looking. The one's on one side, the other, I'm on the other side watching this. And Rose is talking to this man. She's saying, "Oh, how nice that you would come." And she says, "Oh, it's good to see you. And how are you doing?" And this goes on for, I don't know, a minute or 2 minutes about she's talking. So we figure, oh, well, you know, he's dressed nicely and he's a good looking older man. And we're saying, well, she knows him, so we can use this for the radio diary, whatever. And then towards the end, she says, She says, you know what? You look just like Don Gardner, the singer. Whoa, 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 whoa. And he turns to her, he says, Rose, I am Don Gardner. He hadn't seen him for decades.
That's hilarious. Good. I'm not the only one that forgets things, huh?
She didn't even know who she was talking to, but
Wow.
she was going to talk to him just like he was. I'd have a party and somebody new would walk in and she'd go, oh, hi. And how are you? And especially was a good looking guy.
She was a little flirt, huh?
Oh yeah. She would, her eyes would like open up and she'd go, hi, how are you? What's your name? And yeah, she was that, and my mother would do that too. I can't say my mother was flirting, but she had that same
a charm. I'll call it a charmer.
Interest. They were interested in other people,
right?
It wasn't just fake charm. It was. They were really interested.
Right. You can totally see that. I love that clip. And you guys, when you go to YouTube and watch the video of that little 7-minute video of her, it's like a 7-minute autobiography real quick. It's brilliant because you can see her real personality and you can see why she created such great hits because it's all in her personality, all of it, and the callback response, the songs, what was it? Gabbing Blues. Who is it?
Gabbing Blues. And then he said the other one about, I got a 19-year-old jitterbug and
yes.
Bug.
Yes. That was brilliant stuff, man. Like,
yeah.
I wish I could play it, guys. I don't want to take the chance because then they'll ban the video, and then I lost the whole thing. The point is to get
all this on YouTube.
Yeah, the point. Yes, it's all on YouTube. Type in Rose Marie McCoy, and all her stuff should come up. And I want you to make sure you go to the petition. Type in Rose Marie McCoy petition to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, right? Is that right? I think something like that.
Yeah. But and if you don't, I mean, I have an email that I keep for her stuff. If you're interested in anything, it's writeonrose@gmail.com. But it's
right WRITE,
like right on Rose.
On Rose.
Rose, yeah, just Rose.
Right on Rose.
writeonrose@gmail.com.
Gmail.com, guys. So you guys, if you need to know what the link is, but I found it really easy. But find the link and try to go and sign a petition. It's almost there, but it's very important because this is history. Like, she needs a Wikipedia page. She needs all that stuff because she has done remarkable things in the music industry. And I'm appalled that no women have got together that are famous and said, you know what, we're gonna tell her story. Like, if I had the kind of money that some of these celebrities, singers had, I'd be like, yeah, this is my next project. I'm going to do this one because that's the level of importance it is for our kids to know who she is. She did a remarkable, I mean, can I tell you, not only because of the racism, but because of the sexism. So that's two things alone. And then you top it off with 800 songs. Really? How many people was doing that? Not many. So that's why, to me, it's so crucial that she gets recognized. I don't know, who knows if somebody famous is out there watching, or you work at a label or you work as a film biographer even. This is a story you want to tell. I want to see it. I'll go to the movies and see it. I'll definitely.
Yes, Rose wanted a TV show. She says, I would make a great TV show. And she said, who's got to play me? Halle Berry.
I remember her saying, I was like, Halle Berry? I don't know if I do Halle Berry.
I said, that's good, Rose. But I mean,
wait a minute. Now that I think about it, she'd have to put on weight somehow or something, but maybe because Holly's really kind of thin, I think.
But the Rose was very thin when she.
So then maybe she was. That's right. Some of the pictures.
Yes,
I'm thinking of when she's in her 90s. Maybe that's all. Yeah, but you're right. Actually, right. So maybe that could happen, and that would be a good. Would be almost a good fit. Yeah, I think that would be a good fit. So,
and the one, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The one who plays her, that I've done shows over here, musicals with Rose's music and about her story, and a shorter one called Right on Rose, and the different, different ones with this one. And she's thin. She's very beautiful, and she's also, very slim. And that's who we need, because she was. I'm sure that helped her a lot, but also her personality. The guys, they hung around. They went. Wow. They hung in her office. They went to the track together. They were. It was a more exciting time, and it was also could be dangerous. Where, like she went to borrow money when she had trouble once from the loan shark, and he said,
"Oh no."
To you, he said, "I won't give it to you, because if you can't pay, I have to go break your legs or something." He said, I don't want to give it to you." And one of the musicians she used, they hung him outside the window.
What?
Up by his legs. They said, "If you don't get this money," and other songwriters went out and got together. I mean, they were like together. They helped each other. They would loan money. Rose, I had a story of one of.
Oh my God, that would be such a good story. Come on.
Yeah, just he needed money, and she just put it in envelopes. Said, "Don't open this like it was a letter," and opened it later, Jimmy. And she just put $200 in it. He said,
"Wow."
And she had that when she had trouble. I forgot. Oh, he's the guy who wrote a lot of Elvis songs. Oh my God. Anyway, he did the same thing to her. He said, "You need some GD money, Rose?" And she said, "I don't know what I could pay you back." He said, "Hey, whoever said anything about GD, I'll pay." I mean, they were like a family, and I think that's part of the story too. They stuck together, and and just her whole story. That I did since I was teaching, and a lot of my years I spent in 6th and 8th grades, and we used to. I think I got into doing the shows because I used to write my own shows when we had to do every year we had to do a show, and I always wrote my own because I liked it, and plus then everybody could have, if somebody didn't want to like speak, they could be a soldier, like, so I could write it around talent and what the kids wanted to do. So I got into that, and I did the this one thing for schools. I did it for school children, and I think I sent that to you. That's a 15-minute piece that you can use everything there. She is singing. If I had any sense, I go back home at the end. She's all dressed up. I got her nightclub. She sang it, and she talks about her, and that is called "Dare to Dream: The Rose Marie McCoy Story," because it's only 15 minutes, but I also wrote a teacher's guide because she came from nothing. And how did she get there? Well, how do you do that? You have to work at it, but you have to have a big dream. And this helps teachers or youth leaders. And I was given out free. I got not a lot of money, but enough to have put a lot of the audio and video I had together, to take a big goal and then break it down into small goals, because otherwise you just get overwhelmed. And to have teachers or group, leaders, take the kids through and say, what do you want? It also helps you get to know your kids if you're a teacher. Right. And you get them to be more cooperative, because it's, I had one of my classes was they're very poor students, very, very poor. And
what age?
And they were 6th graders.
Oh, 6th graders. That's impressionable.
Well, they were tough 6th graders. They were, well, some of them, they had very tough lives.
Of course.
And, one of my kids, he's the sweetest kid. I love this kid. But when he had a social worker come and said, "Okay, what's the goal for this week, Sean?" And Sean repeated, "Not to get picked up by the police whole week." "Okay, let's try and see how it goes, Sean." And he was just, because he would just tell you, "Sean, did you, that the car they said you were up, did you?" "Yeah, Miss Corsano, I did. Yeah." I mean, they needed it, but those kids did so well in one year. The state test, this other teacher, well, I had help. I only had 15 kids, first of all. So, I wasn't just that, but I would just sit and talk to them about their goals and about, and all of a sudden their math went up like years.
Right.
Everything went up. So I know how important that is. And
Yes.
especially if you're a poor, where Rose came from, it's the poorest county in one of the poorest states. It's Phillips
Right. Arkansas. Yeah.
Arkansas. And the county is, it's bad. I was there, and it's which was really exciting, frankly, because they all sounded like her. They had her accent, and you know, so this is something that I hope to make. And if anybody's interested in that, please go to the right on Rose, rightonrose.com, and I will see if I could get you over the internet. Maybe I can send it, because I have copies on there. I don't have any more.
It's copies. That's the website.
You could go into and let me know what you want. The website, right on Rose at gmail.com.
Oh, I got that. I thought it was something else.
No, what I do also have, but this is where you can learn information about Rose or what might be coming up. Rose Marie McCoy music.com. And I have 200 of the artists that she wrote for. I couldn't fit the whole bunch of them on because I'm not very good at this. I have to work. It's not even kept up to date, but it's
good. That's good. You even got that. I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah. And I also do a podcast.
Oh,
and I
really?
did last April was her 100th year anniversary of her birth. And the whole podcast was about they're only like 10, 15 minutes long.
That's fine.
But I've done it about I call it Black Music Matters because it was so overlooked. When I grew up, what did I hear? And adults too. How much is that doggy in the window? This was on adult radio, and Rose was writing Gab Blues, and I missed it. I didn't know all 8 songs that she wrote for Nappy Brown. I didn't know. Right. So I missed a lot, and it's our history is not. That's why the reparations part too.
Right.
I'm starting to speak. I did speak about reparations 20 years ago when we made a reparations video with some of the top proponents of reparations, and I'm starting to do that again because as it comes up, if you say to people, white people, about reparations, this is what I get. My parents worked hard. My grandparents. Well, like so did my grandfather work hard, but he was a carpenter who was in a union who got union wages, and the Black carpenters lost their jobs. So don't tell me.
You sound like you've been hanging out with my friend Robin from the Center of it's called Center of CWS, I believe. It's on Facebook. They do great. They teach people how to decolonize their mind from racism, and how like things like saying a statement like that, like saying, my parents worked hard when they came here. It's like they came, and some of us, little things like that. So I get it. But we're running out of time already. But I wanted to ask you about the book. Thought we were writing the blues, but they called it rock and roll. So what in the book, Rose pretty much co-signed on almost everything you wrote in it, pretty much, right?
Oh yeah. If she told me not to say something, I didn't say it. There was some interesting things, but I said no. She said, I don't want that in there. And it was about somebody else, not about her.
Right.
I said, but like he's gone. She said, but his grandchildren are around, and I don't want people to know that, that he cheated me this badly, or that he cheated everybody, or that he took a girlfriend to the to the awards dinners and stuff. Terrible. And she said, don't print that. So I wouldn't do that. Because and half of it's in her words, because she said things so well, like, just the way she could, and it's got a lot of her lyrics. And I got permission from about 51 different music publishers to print it for nothing. I had one holdout, Sony Music, and I had somebody intervene, and I couldn't do it if I had to pay everybody for those lyrics, and you have
Yeah.
to do for everything.
Yeah, no, I know because that's how they make their money. That ching ching,
Ching,
ching
yes.
ching is very important. So, what do you want for the takeaway for the book? What do you want us to leave here today? What do you want my viewers to know? Besides, share this video, guys, and not so much what I say, not because of me, but because we need everyone to know who Rose Marie McCoy is. And we need her in the Hall of Fame. I need her Walk of Fame star. I need her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What else? What else we got? We need her in all of the above.
Yes, we do. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and
Yeah,
Songwriting Hall of Fame and
whatever we got.
In a movie and
Oh, yes, we definitely need a movie on this because I totally see it, and I totally see Holly Berry could play her. And I mean, I'm thinking of all the things. I'm like, wait a minute, this would be really good. Just like Lady Sings the Blues. Oh, you saw that, right? That was really fabulous. But I think there's that kind of story here. There's that kind of, because there's so many stories that you were telling me that I was like, oh, I want to hear about that. I mean, just some of the scene. I totally see scenes in my head of some of the things that the book has. It's amazing.
and if you listen to a lot of her music, and if you want any more, I'll certainly send it to you. You see scenes, like there's one song Maxine Brown did. It was her last big hit, top 10 hit. We'll Cry Together, and she would do it at every show with it practically. And it's like and had people when I did the first. We had a reading of the bigger show, and there was people tearing up over this and song, and she really pulls you in because she's writing about her life, like see and don't see. But when her husband was fooling around, she said, "That's okay. It was okay for me to say." She said, and they split for a while. But before it happened, she would write "see and don't see, hear and don't hear, know and don't know. Oh, please make that man stop hurting me." And it's like a blues song that just it's like you just feel her pain.
Yes.
And
I
then
listened to quite a few songs.
Yeah.
I listened to quite a few, and I was like, wow. I mean, I don't get it. I'm baffled why she's not all over everything, and her name doesn't regularly occur in the lips of anyone in music because she was brilliant. I mean, to me, I am very pro female everything, right? But that too, just being a woman in the 50s during Jim Crow, like, and then growing up in Arkansas, like, sorry, Arkansas, but you know what I'm talking about. Especially the part she grew up in. You're like, where's that at? I don't even know where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So that she's got like triple whammies against her. But in her head, when she was in high school, she heard the orchestra play and the other, I forgot the name of the other, some quartet, a group or somebody play, and was like, yeah, I think I want to be a singer. I mean, to have that inspiration, and you're coming from a shack, like,
and to go to New York, but
in New York.
She says, with all the buildings, she never saw buildings. She said, all those people living on top of one another,
Right. Right. And that's the brilliance of it. Like, to me, the story is also special because there's always somebody out there that thinks that they have it worse. They think they can't do it. They think, oh, woe is me. And she is a classic example of like, honey, you're in America. You can have 5 cents to rub together. If you know how to rub them cents together and make somebody pay attention to them cents, guess what? You can make them into millions. That's how easy. That's how easy it is. That she kept that dream and held on to it, even in spite of all the being poor. And there were, it sounds like to me, even being poor, sounds like she still had love somewhere and values and all the good things embedded into the, to make you get that grit.
She did. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it was her personality, but she did, and she kept it. And her mother didn't want her going to New York.
Of course not.
She wanted to come back.
That gorgeous daughter going out to New York.
She sent her to a sleeping job, as Rose called it, and she told the woman who she was working for not to let her go, leave out of it, because she knew her daughter, Yes. And Rose wrote a letter, like as if it came from her cousin, to say, "Oh, you can stay with us." And she says, oh, and I'll go to night college. And then she just she went to the Bronx and she had trouble there. I mean, then.
Oh, that's the words. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, the Bronx was good then. I think it was good in the 50s. I think it was okay in the 50s. It was just starting. Well, no, it wasn't just starting.
Yeah, no. It was a white woman who took her from, she was in the Catskills, and up there, the woman treated her very well.
Okay.
And she, it was good up there. So when this woman said, oh, she wanted to get close to New York. And she said, this woman said, oh, if you come with us. But then she treated her so badly that Rose ran away.
What?
In fact, the woman stopped her. She said she went to the door. She said, you can't leave. You're a minor, and I'll call the police or whatever. And Rose was at least 18, but maybe minor was under 20 or 21. I don't know what that was about. But she said, so Rose said all she did, she packed up. She says, I'm leaving. And she looked, there was a knife, a kitchen knife on the table. And Rose just looked at it and the woman backed away.
What? Oh,
yeah, Rose was tough. Not that she would have stabbed the woman. I'm sure she wouldn't.
But you have to make sure you're defending.
Yes, no, she had trouble with a lot of jealousy, older women singers.
And she was cute.
And she was cute, and that's why. And she worked in places where you had to drink the customers. And the first story that I heard,
a lot of men are like, oh, Rose.
Yeah, she did.
And women don't get it twisted. I'm sure there was all kinds of people.
Yeah, she did. She was tough though. She had a guy once who, acted badly, and I met. She broke his arm. She threw
what?
Well, he, I think he lifted up some guy who was sitting next to her. He was a white guy, and she was sitting next to this other she's an old man. We were just talking. He was very nice, and it was between, singing, and she said, this guy comes in. He says, and he made her, I don't know, it slapped her, and her dress got ruined. Well, that sent her off. And then I think he picked up the guy by the collar, and she said these folding chairs, they were heavy. She says that very, how the old ones are. And she said, I just started going crazy, yelling and throwing chairs at him from the back room. She broke his arm. So the next day he came in with his father, and his father had a rifle.
Oh, Lord.
And Rose was behind the bar because they had to, to tend the bar during the day. Right. So she's behind that, and she says, and the guy says to his son, where's the one who broke your arm? Because, now he's mad. He can't work. And Rose says, well, I got all these bottles behind the bar. I'll start throwing them at him if he lifts that gun up. And what the guy did was he looked at her. I guess she's so pretty, and she was thin and, tall. She was like 5'7", but she was, and he looked at his son. He said, you must have done something to her. And they left out.
No way.
Yeah,
she has a lot of angels around her, clearly.
Oh, she told me a number of those. And the thing is, to hear her with that little voice, and as sweet as anything, and to be in the car, and all of a sudden she's telling, these stories, to whoever we were with. It was like we would go, wow, she's got some stories,
Wow. Yeah, she was amazing, man. I wish I felt like I know her almost like.
Yeah, I know. That's why I took video. I said I could tear up when I would think that enough people aren't seeing her. Enough people aren't sharing what I felt blessed every day to have somebody that interesting, kind,
yes,
but like crazy. I mean, like so out there where she would say, let's go to Chicago. I'll drive. No.
Well, I call it bubbly. She was bubbly, and she was living life on her terms, and just I can't explain it, but you can see that in her personality, that she was just like, all right, we're going to just do this the best we can. We're going to be the best at it, and this is how we're going to, you could see it. I think in that little clip of the video, you can see it. Guys, don't forget to go to YouTube and check out that video. You can look through the thread to see exactly where to go. But it's amazing because you'll get her personality, and you'll want to share. You'll want to hear more about her because she's fantastic. Well, she was fantastic. And now it's up to us to make sure she has her place in history. So make sure you also Where can we get the book? Is it on Amazon? Thought We Were Writing the Blues,
Yeah,
but
it's on Amazon,
oh,
and
yeah.
basically it. They have some copies up in Harlem, but
Yeah.
but I
Now
don't.
I can't play any of those songs legally. To the Moon, I'll Be All Right. Love Don't Live Here Anymore. House Party. You Burned the Letter. I Do My Best with What I Got. None of those, right?
I do the best I can with what when Audrey sings it. You can play that.
Oh, I don't know who's singing this one. I just love it.
The one that where she's got a black and red dress on, and she
Oh,
at
oh,
Audrey the
I can
video.
play that. I
You
can
can
play that.
play that, and you can play See and Don't See. It's very dark, I know, See and Don't See,
You
but
know,
you can play See and Don't See, and
oh, I took it out of the queue. I took it out of the queue.
uh,
Yeah, I took it out of the
okay.
queue, but that's all right, you guys, because we're over time anyway. But it's all right. You guys make sure you go to YouTube, check out Rose Marie McCoy. She's fabulous. And we're sitting here talking to her, one of her good confidants, her good friend and biographer, playwright, Arlene Corsano, and so I want you guys to share the video because we must get the word out. Rose must be remembered and honored the way she should be. And the only way that'll happen is if you guys show an interest and get those algorithms going. Okay. So share the video for me. Just do that for me if you can. And I thank you so much, Arlene, for taking your time to come. And if I can help you in any way, just call me. I'm going to try my best, whatever it is. I'll try my best to help you out because I'm a firm believer that credit should be where credit's due. And she's way past due on her credit.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You have made not just my day, my week, my year, maybe, because good to have somebody. Well, I do run into this. I just don't run into it the right places, I guess, where people have, something's got to be done. Yeah, I know, and I try, and I've gotten close sometimes, and then oh no, we're doing something else instead. Like a regular, a whole video thing that someone,
Okay.
oh, this has got to be done, and then it went to a company, a video company,
Mhm.
and they, and then they called me up. So we're doing something else right now. We're busy. So and then things get dropped. So it gets like disheartening.
Well, that's because
Yeah.
we'll talk behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I think there's a way to get people interested, and we'll talk behind the scenes.
Mm.
I will definitely be contacting you on that because I got some ideas for that. Thank you very much. I see that. That's the yes. Thank you. I definitely think there's a way to get the interest in this, create a buzz, as they say. And I call it using the guerrilla tactics that they used to do back in the day. You hear it so much that you got to do something about it. Like you just got.
Right. That's
We're gonna
right.
make sure that happens.
Rose says, "Do it, do it."
Yeah, because
Well,
if Rose was alive, she'd say, "Come on now, get my name out there."
yeah. Thank you. You're incredible. I can't how you do this, how you do all this electronic stuff, and
I taught myself because guess what? Nobody would do it for me, and if I didn't do it, I wasn't going to have a show. So sometimes we have to go and say, you know what? My daughter. Thank you, Tatiana, wherever you were at. She was insistent upon me learning certain things, and she's like, well, you're going to have to act like you're 13. What do 13-year-olds do? They get curious and nosy, and they have to do it until they get it right.
good for her.
That's what we're going to do for Rose. We're going to do it till we get it right. That's
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And let me see. I'm gonna end. Oh, I took the clip down too. Darn it. I just overclipped myself today. I had it up a thing because of copyright. We took it down because I want to make. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So that's why, guys, I don't have my clip in the queue anymore. But it's okay. We thank you so much, Arlene, for taking the time to come and be with us. And guys, make sure you go get the book. Thought We Were Writing the Blues, but they called it Rock and Roll. Biographer Arlene Corsano is with us, and we thank you so much for taking the time. Guys, make sure you share this video for me. Can you do that for me? Thank you. I love you all. And who's this? Somebody gave a last comment. I want to say hi to our audience real quick before I go. Thank you. Good evening, Maria, the Black Therapy Show. We love you guys. Thank you. Maria, oh God, Grandma Norma, I see you. Thank you, Joe, Emma, Chris. Hey, Chris, aloha. Richard, thank you. I see you guys out there, Joe. I see somebody else out there's some people I can't see. If you're on YouTube, sorry, I can't see who you are, but I want to thank you for taking time. Make sure you share the video because Rose is gonna go viral, not just with me, but all the videos you see of her. That's showing interest because
And
if
check.
you were, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and check out Black Music Matters, April 2022. It's all about Rose. It's Rose talking a bit about her life, and
What's it called? Black Music.
Black Music Matters. Yeah,
What is that? That's
it's a podcast. It's a podcast.
oh,
Yeah,
April
it's a different band. I mean, I did Jackie Wilson. I do all the people I loved.
Oh, really? I have to
Jackie
check that out.
Wilson.
I put it in there, guys, for you. So
Yeah,
you
it's,
can see it. Let me see. Black Music Matters. Is that right?
Black Music Man. And I don't have the rights to get the music yet. I'm going to see if I can do that. I hear it's maybe not too expensive to get like BMI rights or ASCAP. It should be more BMI.
Okay. Well, that you do what you got to do.
Then I can play the music, and that's really exciting.
Turning happily in her grave, saying, "I know Arlene's going to do it for me. I know she's going to do it."
I told her she had to do it.
Now, does she have any living family left that's taking care of her estate?
Well, she has a her friend died. He has some of her songs in his catalog. He's a music publisher.
Okay.
And they take care of it because you have to know a lot of stuff. He takes care of it. His son takes care of it for the family. It's really was the niece is the only one who but there's nobody's really that knows about the music or right. I mean, but the money from like anything I would do would, if I ever make money on this, goes to, well, half of it, because I do the work,
right.
And we had agreements because she wanted me to do something. She said, they're going to throw it all out when I go, so you have to take care of stuff. And I'm giving it a shot.
Yeah, you're trying to honor that, and you are honoring that. So we thank you so much, and we hope that anytime anything else new goes on, Arlene, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to help play whatever it is you want to promote, whatever it is you got going on next. Because I really think you're fabulous. I hope I have a friend like that will, make sure that I'm honored if I write a book or if I write a song, whatever, something creative. I hope I have someone to carry my legacy on. So thank you so much. For all that you do to try to keep her legacy alive, because she's history, pretty much. That's the bottom line.
And I have to get going on this because I'll be history one of these days, and getting any younger. I mean, hopefully I'll do. She's
105.
92 she lived to, but I get a little worried. I get a little worried. What if I get Alzheimer's? Right. What if I get
Right. You have to carry the torch. Yeah,
I have to get other people interested before. I'm not that young.
Right. Well, that's all right. Well, we will talk again very soon. And I will contact you as well. Remember, because I have some ideas for you. So thank you so much, guys. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch On the Town with Tanya. And we'll be back again next Sunday. Any last words before we go, Arlene?
Just like thank you. You just have lifted me, and you need this. I need it every once in a while. I got a plaque that I just leave on my counter. Mm-hmm. To say, do something every day, even if it's small, do something every day for Rose. Right. Because I got it from 100 Black women. That 7-minute clip that the Rose Marie McCoy, I think it's going to work out fine.
Right.
There was a film festival here, and they sponsored it, and they've come to a bunch of my shows. They keep coming back to this, even though sometimes it's the same show, I'm just helping make it a little better, and They keep coming back. And so I need something like this. Otherwise, it's not that I don't want to do it, but your head gets a little
motivation
here and there, and it's like,
I get it.
Like I'm not thinking, but once something good happens, I go and check everything out.
Well, that's fabulous.
So you've been a great help. I thank you so much. I thank you
No, we'll be in touch because I love stuff like this. This is like I live for stuff like this. So we'll be in touch. But hang out for 1 minute while I just end the show. Just stay right there for 1 moment, guys. Thank you so much for being with us again. We really appreciate you. Bye. See you next week. Hang right there for a minute.